Welcome and welcome back, you all. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Colette. I am an avid reader, if you don't know. And so I just wanted to go over a few books that I have on my TBR or that are on my radar, definitely on my TBR, that I have seen that look interesting, that I've heard about, that I, definitely wanted to go ahead and check out later on. So I just wanted to go ahead and share some of those with you. If you're interested for that, definitely go ahead and stick around. Okay, so you guys are still here. So I just want to give a little reminder. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified for whenever I do release new videos. But let's just go ahead and jump into the first book. So the first book actually comes out this month, April 21st. So in a couple days, actually, you'll see this book. This book is titled Burn the Sea by Mona Tewari. I hope I'm saying her name properly. I'm just going to read the synopsis for you. It says, to protect her homeland, one queen must fight her people's historic enemy once and for all. Abaka Chauta never expected to be queen. The youngest of Yulal's two Rajkumaris, Abaka has spent years in rigorous combat, training to become her sister's blade. But when the monstrous Porkuji attempted to lay claim to Yalal, Abaka's world and fate are upended. The Porkuji, giant half-men snakes who attacked from the sea, haven't been in Yulal since their failed invasion more than 50 years ago. But now they're back with a vengeance and a choice. Pay their tithes or suffer total devastation. Soon, Abaka's definition of strength, subterfuge, and statecraft are put to the test. Will marriage to a neighboring king give her the resources she needs to protect her people, or will she watch her homeland be crushed beneath the waves of would-be colonizers? A lush historical fantasy that reimagines the Portuguese attacks on South India in the 1500s and the fierce real-life queen story, Burn the Sea is an electrifying exaltation of female power and the value of freedom. So I first heard about this book from Janani. This story ain't over. I'll link her below in case you guys want to check out her page. But she has an imprint, Boundless Press, I believe it's called, or Boundless Print, something to that effect. And this is the first book that is going to be released on her imprint. When I initially heard of it, I thought it was just a fantasy, right? But I was very much interested in it. But to know that this is a reimagining of history and how, I guess, how they would have imagined it to go in a fantastical world, I thought that was even more intriguing. So that's why it's on my radar and why I definitely have it on my TBR. So hopefully, this is something that you may be interested in, but don't worry, I have a few more books as well. But that is my first book, which is Burn the Sea by Mona Tewari. So my second book that I am wanting to add to my reading repertoire later on is More Than a Carpenter by Sean McDowell and Josh D. McDowell. It says, the inspirational classic, More Than a Carpenter, is now updated for a new generation of seekers with a fresh look, revised material, and a new chapter that addresses questions commonly raised today. Former skeptic Josh McDowell is now joined by his son Sean as they examine the evidence about Jesus. Is he really the Lord he claimed to be? How can we know for sure? More Than a Carpenter offers arguments for faith from a skeptic turned believer. Since its original publication in 1977, this modern classic has sold over 15 million copies, been translated into dozens of languages, and introduced countless people to the real Jesus. Now with new content that addresses questions raised by today's popular atheist writers, audio edition read by Sean McDowell. So, for myself, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to convert anyone or push religion on anyone or Christianity or any of that. For myself, I was intrigued by this synopsis just because I have questions. That doesn't mean I don't believe or I don't have faith, but I do have questions. And as I go on my personal journey about what I'm reading and rereading the Bible for understanding, I just felt like this might be a good, I guess, companion to some of the questions I might have as I'm reading the word. So if you are in the same boat as me, or if this is something that interests you, then More Than a Carpenter might also be your next new read as well. So just want to put that out there. That is my second book. Let's go into my third book, which is Simon Bolivar's Letter from Jamaica. So they have a bilingual edition. I guess I technically am bilingual, but I don't speak Spanish. So obviously I'm going to get the English translation of that. But it says, written in 1815 while exiled in Kingston, Jamaica, this letter is Bolivar's clearest articulation of the revolutionary ideals that would shape the political destiny of South America. In it, he reflects on the collapse of the First Republic of Venezuela, analyzes colonial oppression, and lays out a bold vision for a unified and sovereign Latin America. This edition presents the original Spanish text alongside a fluent, accessible English translation, making it ideal for students, scholars, and bilingual readers. I'm not going to hold you. The reason I was intrigued from it by the title is because it said Letters from Jamaica. And if you don't know, then I am first generation American. My parents were Jamaican. I actually lived in Jamaica, attended school in Jamaica, then came back to the States and all that good stuff. So for myself, I was intrigued by that. I had never heard of Simon Bolivar. I didn't know who he was or what was happening. And so I was just interested in the history of that and what was going on and why he was exiled to Kingston to begin with. And I didn't know if that also would I didn't know if that would also have insight into Jamaica at that time while he was there, and if he tried to, or if he maybe used some of that to recognize or realize what was going on in Latin America and how he would like for them to progress, because he's also living in another country that was colonized. So I was just intrigued by it. It's really short. It's only 56 pages. If you have Kindle, it's only 99 cents. So I just figured that it was something interesting for me. I do like a little bit of history. I used to love history way more. I'm not there anymore, but I'm definitely intrigued by it. So that is my third book, which is Simon Bolivar's Letters from Jamaica. My next book that I have on my list, book number 4, is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. The synopsis says, more than 15 years after the events of The Handmaid's Tale, the theocratic regime of the Republic of Gilead maintains its grip on power, but there are signs it's beginning to rot from within. At this crucial moment, the lives of 3 radically different women converge with potentially explosive results. 2 have grown up as part of the first generation to come of age in the new order. The testimonies of these 2 young women are joined by a third voice, a woman who wields power through the ruthless accumulation and deployment of secrets. As Atwood unfolds the testaments, she opens up the innermost workings of Gilead, as each woman is forced to come to terms with who she is and how far she will go for what she believes. So I read The Handmaid's Tale because I had heard about the series that when it was initially announced and it was coming out on Hulu. I watched the series. I love the series. That's one of the few series I followed from beginning to end. And the book, I love the book. I actually have it. It's one of the books I do actually own. And so I wanted to read the Testaments because I know it follows that story and that the new season or the new show is coming out, The Testaments, on Hulu. So I kind of wanted to read the book first before I watched the series, because that's what I did with The Handmaid's Tale, and kind of see how that progressed from there. So that was purely a me thing, obviously, as all these books are, but that was definitely a me thing, something that I wanted to read, enjoy, and then maybe compare to the TV show. Like, I will say the first season of The Handmaid's Tale, which is literally the book ends, and the seasons 2 through 5 or 6 or whatever are just things that they've decided to expound on or go deeper into. That's all them. That's nothing to do with the book. And so I just wanted to see how closely they kept it to the book, and then, read it for enjoyment, all that good stuff. But I really do enjoy it. If you haven't read The Handmaid's Tale, I would highly recommend it. But obviously I'm going to go ahead and read the Testaments as well, and then watch the series. So that is book number 4, and let's get into book number 5. This last book is The Reaper by Jackson P. Brown. You and I will be reading the synopsis for the first time together because I honestly just liked how the cover of the book looked, and so I was interested. So let's see. Amy is an empath, able to sense the auras of the supernatural creatures that stalk London at night, but sorely lacking in knowledge, she spends night after night searching for answers. Gerald is a reaper, a weapon for hire, on the verge of his awakening, of coming into his power and becoming the man his family need him to be, the man they demand him to be. When Amy stumbles onto Gerald one night, she notices his strange aura, unlike anything she has ever seen before. And so, against her better judgment, she helps him. In thanks, he makes her an offer she can't refuse. Become his partner, and he will introduce her to a world she has only ever felt the shallow surface of, the underworld. And their first mission together, Find a girl who vanished into thin air. See, I was right. Tell me that doesn't sound good. I literally just saw it. I like the way that the cover looked. You guys see it on the screen. I like the way that the cover looked, and I was like, ooh, let's go ahead and put that down. So yeah, I'm totally gonna read this. I don't know when I'll get to it, but here we are. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Those are the 5 books that I have on my TBR that I'm intrigued in, that have caught my eye, and I kind of want to get into sooner rather than later. Hopefully sooner. But I digress. You know how that goes. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. And again, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when more additional videos come out. And I will see you in the next video, you guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.